I have a confession to make. I really like Call of Duty multiplayer. I know, real brave. But a lot of people are very unhappy with the current state of Vanguard. And yeah, you could go play Halo instead, or maybe Battlefield.
This game is amazing.
Okay, not Battlefield, but those games aren't replacements for the Call of Duty feel. Given how angry people are about Vanguard, I feel now is the perfect time to offer a good alternative. A blatant Black Ops 2 clone that is free on Steam, is not pay to win, and is not excessively grindy. A game that is better than anything the official Call of Duty devs have made in the last 10 years. How did this happen? Hi, Jarek here, and I really cannot understate how many hours of my life I've wasted playing Call of Duty multiplayer. If you ask anyone what their favorite Call of Duty multiplayer is, almost every single person is either going to reply with Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops 2. In my case, it's Black Ops 2. I was always more on the Treyarch side for Black Ops 1 and 2. Boy, that changed. But before I explain what Ironsight offers you, I have another offer for you. Today's sponsor. It's almost Valentine's Day, and if you're lonely, well, it's still almost Valentine's Day, but if you're in a relationship, you may want to get your significant other something or they might get a little upset at you. Fortunately, today's sponsor can help. Today's sponsor is IntoTheAM, and they are running a Valentine's Day deal. 25% off items with red and roses on them. IntoTheAM makes a bunch of super comfortable shirts. They're very soft. They become my sort of de facto shirts I wear at home, or if I want to go out to get some food or go to the store. They fit me well, they make me look good, and if you can get a shirt that both feels super comfortable and makes you look good, why not? Like seriously, I've had these since about August. I've washed them a bunch since then, and they're still really soft. They also have the typical deals. You can get 3 graphic tees for $60, or you can get 3 basic tees for $45. On top of that, if you use my link down below, you can get an extra 10% off site-wide, which stacks on top of those deals. So hey, big thanks goes to IntoTheAM for supporting this channel. I accept their sponsors all the time because I genuinely like their products. And let's get back to the video. So why is Ironsight such a big deal to me? Well, it's because Call of Duty means something different to everyone. My favorite style of Call of Duty game is what I refer to as the Call of Duty 4 era. This was during the time between Call of Duty 4 and Black Ops 2. I guess you could include Ghosts in that, but it wasn't particularly good, so let's not. Anyway, these games are defined by their fairly limited movement and fast time to kill. They had varying degrees of polish, but I think most people would think very fondly of this time. And it's hard to deny that Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 2 were one of the more polished Call of Duty games, and those are generally everyone's favorite. That doesn't say anything about the balance of those games. Modern Warfare 2 I feel was intentionally imbalanced in a crazy clusterfuck kind of way, whereas Black Ops 2 was the total opposite. And before someone says it, no, people's favorites being Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2 is not because of nostalgia. A huge pet peeve of mine is when someone comes along and goes, your opinion is invalid because nostalgia. Or maybe they like Black Ops 2 a lot because it doesn't feel anything like newer Call of Duty games. You know, because they're not the same person as you and they're gonna have different interests. This really isn't that hard to understand. Anyway, after this era, Call of Duty decided to start chasing trends. Soon your movement was no longer so limited. You had jetpacks and wall running. There was a fundamental change in Call of Duty's gameplay. I wasn't a big fan of this, and this is where I started to check out. But that wasn't good enough. They needed to chase more trends. Soon, not only did you have jetpacks and wall running, but they started adding in heroes. You know, those specialists that you had? The ones that would basically give people free kill streaks for absolutely no reason with no warning whatsoever, so you would just die by some random one-shot bullshit somebody had out of nowhere. Yeah, you can tell how fondly I think of this concept. I absolutely hated it. This was what pushed me over the top to just stop paying attention to Call of Duty entirely, and they continued down that route. Specialists became more extreme, time to kill got slower, you still had lots of movement, and then they chased another trend, Battle Royales, which initially wasn't successful. Remember Blackout? Yeah, that didn't work so well. This isn't to say Call of Duty isn't conducive to Battle Royales, just that they forgot what made Call of Duty. So with the advanced Call of Duty era, these games aren't necessarily bad. They are pretty decent games. But the question is, are they Call of Duty games? And if you were someone that came into Call of Duty with Call of Duty 4 and Black Ops 2, no, these games are very different from the Call of Duty that you expect. It isn't that they were chasing trends with Battle Royales here, it's that when somebody buys a Call of Duty game, they aren't wanting to buy Apex, they want Call of Duty. This just isn't Call of Duty, and that's why I totally stopped paying attention. But then came Modern Warfare 2019. Slow movement was back, So was Fast Time to Kill, and Warzone took off. I don't want to do an in-depth analysis of Modern Warfare 2019, so what I will say is Modern Warfare 2019 did capture the spirit of those early Call of Duty games. However, Modern Warfare 2019 still feels quite a bit different from the original Modern Warfare. While this is really fun, and I genuinely enjoyed it, and I still play it to this day, I don't think it's a good replacement for that Call of Duty 4 era. And that's where Ironsight comes in. Ironsight is a shameless Black Ops 2 clone. The movement, the guns, the loadouts, hell, even down to the textures look like Black Ops 2. The map isn't the same, but I mean, come on, that blatantly looks like Hijack. In most cases, this would be a negative criticism. But here it's clear that the developers enjoyed those older Call of Duty games and wanted more. But there's nowhere else to turn. It is impressive just how much this feels like Black Ops 2. In fact, the best way I can describe this game is that it just is Black Ops 2 if everyone had dexterity by default. Okay, so why is it actually good? I guess let's start simple. Let's start with the guns. One of the pillars of Call of Duty is the detailed, fun-to-use guns. If you go into a Call of Duty game, the first thing you'll probably do is make a loadout based around a certain weapon that you just felt like using at that time. If I want to go back to Black Ops 2, I can make a loadout based on just the B23R. But for that to work, the guns need to feel good and all have their own purpose. And thankfully, Ironsight pulls this off incredibly well. Even the smaller things that are a lot more important than you may realize, like say the production value, Ironsight nails. All of these weapons have very smooth reloading animations. Nothing here pulls me out of the moment. These guns are realistic to their real-life counterparts. From what I've seen, there's nothing jarringly off about these animations. Yeah, they're probably not up to par with 2022 technology, but they definitely look smooth. Even more important, they're fun to use. They have good recoil, they sound punchy, and they have their roles. Now, of course, you have your different categories of weapons, assault rifles, snipers, SMGs, so on and so forth. But even within those categories, every gun has its own playstyle. For example, the Crisp Vector is a hipfire machine. I'm running purely with a hipfire loadout.
Pretty good this game. Hipfire's pretty nasty. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. While the MP5 is a good all-rounder, and the AR-57 is a little better at longer range. This isn't to say the AR-57 won't have the advantage over an assault rifle up close, but also if you try to fight someone with a Crisp Vector up close while you have an AR-57, you're at a disadvantage. This may sound like common sense, but this is very important. When it comes to first-person shooters, the main character is not the character you are playing. The main character is the gun you are holding. This gun dictates how you interact with the entire world around you. This is why Half-Life 2 was so influential and innovative. Adding a gravity gun suddenly made real interaction with the world around you. Suddenly it wasn't just an interaction of your gun in the world, it was an interaction of everything. Just another example of how Valve was always so much further ahead than everyone else. And this has now just become a standard thing in games. Anyway, back on topic. There are a lot of weapons to choose from here, and almost all of them are balanced in perfectly. The only few exceptions I can think of are not overpowered, they're underpowered. Which still sucks. I would like to be able to use the M16, but it's not particularly good, but at least it's not broken. Either way, you have all these different weapons to choose from, so you're not going to be limited. And if it's important to you, all of the weapons fit the theming of the game. That was until a very recent season that added a few World War II weapons, but I personally don't mind the option of being able to use the Thompson. Slightly out of place, but it's fun. For the most part, all the weapons are modern weapons, and there's quite a few that you just don't really see in other games. For example, the Type 89. This gun is seen in almost nowhere, so I love the option to use it. And better yet, none of this is grindy, none of this is pay to win, no one is put at an advantage because they threw money into the game. If you decide to put money into the game systems, you're just unlocking more things faster. That's it. You don't really have a whole lot of incentive to do this either, because you unlock a good 10-15 guns within the first day or so of playing the game. And there's still plenty more to unlock after that. And if you don't know what gun you want to unlock, this game has a firing range. Thank God. I love it when games do this. You can go to the firing range, pick any gun you want, doesn't matter if it's unlocked for you or not, and try it out. There's targets at all ranges. It will show you how much damage it does. So you can see its damage drop off. You can get a good idea of if you actually want to use that gun and use your points to get it. I really wish every game had this. But guns are only one component of a good game. If guns were the whole thing, Modern Warfare 2019 would be the best Call of Duty game, but most people don't have that opinion. Another important component are the maps. And thankfully, almost all of these maps could be taken out of Ironsight and shoved into Call of Duty and become the best maps in the game. At its core, these maps seem like they're just basic 3-lane maps, but they're designed better than that. This is really important because the movement in this game isn't extreme. This movement is pretty limiting, and that is by design. You don't run particularly fast, there's obviously no jetpacks or boosting, you can't even slide, so you can't just slide cancel around corners. Even drop shotting and jump shotting has been nerfed. If you try to go prone, it will take you out of your ADS until you're on the ground. You can still jump shot, but it's a little more awkward. I find you generally have to aim if you're trying to jump shot, making it a little more difficult. Not impossible, good players are still going to be doing it. But if you don't have a bunch of movement, the maps need to be designed in a good way, otherwise camping will prevail. We have seen this in Modern Warfare 2019. Some of the maps are really damn bad. Now, I do think the hate on Modern Warfare 2019's maps is a little overblown. I get really tired of constantly hearing, the maps are so campy, the game is so slow, it's so bad, wah. In all reality, some of the maps are really bad, some of the maps are really good. You could take maps like Hackney Yard or Gunrunner and put that into any Call of Duty game and they would still be good maps. But I digress, some of them are really bad and showcase just what a bad map design will do. If someone has posted up in the back of a Azir cave, it's really hard to get them out of their spawn. They have no incentive to move. Now, that would be fine if you had better ways to get around them and get them out of that spawn. Problem is, the maps are not designed in that way. So when people complain about camping in Modern Warfare 2019, that's generally what they're complaining about. If every map in Modern Warfare 2019 was designed in a way like, say, Hackney Yard, this wouldn't be a problem. It's not because they can mount up on walls or the time to kill is too fast, it's purely because of that map design. Ironsight doesn't have this problem. Let's take an example from that boat map I mentioned earlier. Looking at it from above, this is clearly a 3-lane map. One lane has an inside section with a casino so you can get away from killstreaks. The other lane has 2 windows where snipers can be, but also has their view obstructed by this wave rider, and there's also extra paths so they can easily be flanked. And every single lane comes together to the middle. This middle has 2 buildings where people can camp on both sides. However, the spiral staircase makes it difficult for them to really see the person coming up to attack them. They can still do it, but there's also other ways they can get shot from. Usually in a 3-lane map, the middle lane is just a death sentence that you don't want to approach. But with everything conjoining in the middle while still having clear lanes, this is a good way to get from one side of the map to the other without dying. And there's another thing that Ironsight does. Every map has a small gimmick. It doesn't affect the gameplay in any negative way, it gives you an extra option that's not obnoxious. In this case, there's a platform right in the middle of the map that you can raise up. This is a powerful place to be, but the main reason this exists is to shoot someone that's trying to camp on those side buildings. And the same goes the other way around. If someone's trying to camp on the center platform in the middle, someone can just walk up to the side building and shoot them and catch them off guard. Basically, the maps are designed in a way to give people strong positions, but also force them to cover their backs. You're not getting shot from too many angles, but you're also not only having one angle to cover so you can just camp there. This should sound familiar because that's exactly how Black Ops 2 did it. And again, I could take so many of these maps and just take them and shove them into Call of Duty and they would work incredibly well. Another good one is Mart. This map is again a clear 3-lane map, but there's some extra rooms that kind of cover that up. The whole center area is this mart, and this connects all the different lanes. If a sniper just wants to be lame and sit on the side alley and try to snipe the whole time, he can totally do that. But if you don't want to deal with that sniper, there's plenty of ways to get behind them. These maps all vary in size and engagement ranges. So yes, 3 of the core pillars are done exceptionally well in my opinion. Lots of guns to choose from that all feel good, the movement is restrictive but not in a way that makes the game feel bad, and the maps are designed incredibly well. But there's another 4th pillar that's incredibly important to Call of Duty that I've neglected to mention until now. Killstreaks. This may be controversial, but the way Ironsight deals with killstreaks is quite a bit different. If you look at the bottom of the screen, your killstreaks are always counting down. Your score does not reset when you die. That said, if you want to get the higher killstreaks, you really have to be killing to get them. But you won't be getting these highest kill streaks unless you're getting like over 30 kills that game. And even then, to be honest, the highest kill streaks aren't really very powerful. Like the mech is particularly powerful, but it doesn't last very long. The Hellbird is this game's variant of Black Ops 1's chopper gunner, but I'm pretty sure they've nerfed it over the years and it just isn't that strong. I never really see anyone using it as a result. I honestly would actually like to see these buffed a little bit. That said, the other kill streaks are really fun to use. They're a little more simple. For example, one of the kill streaks is basically a drone you control that has C4 on it, and that's just hilarious to me. And these kill streaks do loop around when you get all of them. They are on a bit of a cooldown, so you can't spam the lower kill streaks. Overall, I like this system. It gets rid of that frustration of dying 1 kill away from your highest kill streak and then you're just annoyed. It still allows you to try at the game if you want to, but also play casually if you want to. I also think this is where they got the idea for the score streak system they used in Black Ops Cold War, because Ironsight has been around for quite a while. Oh, this game also has 2 different kinds of kill streaks, or drones. They call them drones in the game. You have offensive drones and tactical drones, and they're what you would expect. Offensive drones are more traditional kill streaks, they'll just straight up murder. Tactical drones are more disruptive. For example, you'll have an observer drone, you can fly around and mark enemies on the map that will show up as red diamonds for your whole team, or you have a spy drone, which is just a UAV, or you got a Gorgon system, which will just blind you. You know, tactical drones are more supportive compared to the raw killing potential of the offensive drones. Then there's one last pillar of Call of Duty that's very important that I haven't talked about yet, and that's the loadout system. The reason I haven't mentioned it is because it works pretty much identically to Call of Duty. You can choose a primary and you can choose a secondary. You can put 2 attachments on your primary. This will do things like make your hip fire more accurate or give your gun slightly more range before the damage starts dropping off, stuff like that. If you played Call of Duty, you understand how this works. The secondaries I do want to point out though, because secondaries in this game are classified as both pistols and shotguns. This concerned me because having secondary shotguns can be super annoying, but in this game they don't seem to be overpowered and they're pretty balanced in. My only real complaint about this is that the Glock 18 is just by far the best secondary in the game. It's basically a pocket SMG. I run with nothing else. Shotguns can be fun, but I mean the Glock 18 is just so much better than everything. It's not balance breaking because it's not a primary, so it's not really like dominating any lobbies. But if I did say there's one balance thing that probably should change, it's probably the Glock 18. But I have more to talk about when it comes to the quote-unquote skills. These are the perks in the game. These honestly aren't very balanced, and most people end up running with the same skills. The first lot is probably the most balanced of them all. You have perks that will do things like reduce your weapon sway, throw tactical and lethal grenades faster, aim 50% faster, switch your weapon faster, but most people end up choosing quick reload because reloading faster is just important. I'm going to skip over to the third tier perk before talking about the second one real quick. This one is pretty imbalanced. There's some good stuff here, like for example taking less damage from explosives, giving melee weapons more reach, requiring 100 less points to get a drone. Okay, that one's actually really trash. That's absolutely nothing. You would never use this. But the 2 most important ones here are quick recovery, which just makes you regen health faster, and a perk they call long ears. Yeah, I mentioned this game is made by an Asian developer, and sometimes the translations are not particularly good. My personal favorite translation is when there's a part of a map you can't go to, and it just says, "No way." Anyway, the perk Long Ears just makes footsteps louder. Basically, use sound whore with this. The intent of this perk is to counter another one, which I'll talk about in a moment, but the result is that everyone runs with this one because sound whoring is really important. I run with this perk, it can definitely carry you, but I think for balance, changing this would probably be a good idea. I think it should only affect people that are using the other perk it's supposed to counter. And that's extra funny because the perk it's supposed to counter is in the second tier, and this perk is totally useless. This perk is called Feather Steps, which makes you totally silent when walking. Now, if this was like Ninja, where it just made you totally silent, it would be very strong. But again, it's only when walking. Do you know how often you walk in a Call of Duty game? Never. And when you're walking, your footsteps are so quiet anyway that they're hard to hear regardless. If they want to make this perk useful, they should just make it so that it reduces your footsteps entirely. I don't want it to be like Ninja where it totally gets rid of your footsteps, but I do want them to be overall quieter, because making no sound while you're walking is something that is never going to happen and will be totally pointless. Anyway, none of this really matters because there's one perk that's incredibly busted in tier 2. The other perks would be useful if not for this one perk, because the other perks give you more ammo and let you sprint for longer. But that won't matter, because one of the perks is called Double Time, and this perk increases your movement speed by 50% when aiming down sights. I don't need to explain how incredibly strong that is. The ability to aim down your sights, be more accurate, and outstrafe your opponent is something that you should never not choose. Basically, the perks everyone in the game is going to use is they're going to use Quick Reload, Double Time, and Long Ears. There's very little variation in the perks people use because those 3 are just better than all the others. And while I abuse Double Time myself to great effect, I think it does need to be nerfed. I already don't quite like the idea of this as a whole, but as of right now, it's really strong. Too strong. It's odd because everything else in the game is pretty well balanced and thought through, but the perks kind of need a little bit of work. But that's quite literally the only complaints I really have. What I've always wanted out of a Call of Duty game was more Black Ops 2, and that's quite literally what this game is. And I'm not exaggerating when I say, even though this isn't an official Call of Duty game, this is my favorite Call of Duty multiplayer. This effectively took everything we learned from Black Ops 2 and fixed the problems. Shooting feels great. Hipfire is slightly more accurate. The sprint to fire speed is pretty fast, but not fast enough to invalidate someone that has good positioning. But it gives you a chance. Climbing over things is quite literally like dexterity in Black Ops 2, you just quickly vault. Game feel is amazingly important, and this game nails it. And again, it's free on Steam. I want to see the player numbers bump after I make this video. It's not a dead game. Not at all. But it obviously doesn't have as many players as Call of Duty does because it doesn't have that marketing push. I love this game. I think it's a ton of fun. It's literally exactly what I want out of a Call of Duty game, And also, it's free. You have no reason not to try it. I'll put a link in the video information to where you can download it on Steam. Again, I highly recommend this game. I used to stream this game a lot back in the day. If you want to join me over on Twitch, my Twitch is twitch.tv/Jarek4GamingDragon. If you subscribe, you get to see my videos a week ahead of time at least. Also, a big thanks goes to IntoTheAM for sponsoring this channel. Check out their Valentine's Day deal. I mean, they make some cool soft shirts that I'm sure people would appreciate. Also, check the link down below for a 10% off site-wide deal. And of course, thank you for watching this video.